y'all doing? Back again with another episode of It Factor. As always, I'm your host, Jeremy Robinson. And today we got somebody special. Go ahead and introduce yourself, man.
Man, I go by the name of Sean Million, aka REEQO STAR. How y'all doing, man? It's a pleasure to be here.
Yes, sir. It always is.
Thank you for having me.
Man, on this great Friday. So first off, I would
Great
like to say, man, how are you doing? Mentally, physically, emotionally? How was your week, man?
It's been I'm gonna be honest, man. It's been one of those weeks because had some things transpire over last weekend, Juneteenth, and they kind of bled into this week. And I've been trying to really handle business professionally. And it was I ain't gonna say my first dose. It's one of the big doses I have of what happens when money gets involved with your profession and like accountability and people passing the buck, you know, let go over here, and you got to chase somebody down about $1, find out what's going on with the situation. And then in the midst of that, you just got to keep your eye, you know, trying to keep my eyes on the prize. Like we're starting a new season of the Ninja Please podcast tomorrow. We're going to film and record, you know, season 8. We do about a couple seasons a year. We've been doing it since 2019. And I got some crazy news this morning. I lost one of my hosts. So it's like, all right, I'm down a host, you know, and now it's just 3 of us instead of, you know, 4. But you know, after, you know, I got the message. It wasn't a phone call, wasn't a conversation. It was kind of like one of those, boom, this is what it is, mic drop. And it's like, where did that come from? And it's like, dang, you know what I'm saying? It caught me off guard. And it was just like so close to the day. It almost threw me off. But at the time I was out walking my dog, and it was like, man, I had a great meeting last night with some alumni, some colleagues. Shout out to Full Sail University. Had a mixer with them last night and talked to some industry people, got a lot of insight, got a lot of knowledge. I'm able to see clearly the path that I'm headed on. So my attitude is more or less is, hey, if you don't get off the ride now, but if you're gonna get off the ride now, I'm telling you, like, this is gonna be a dope ride. So I'm thankful and I'm blessed to be surrounded by people who invest so much of their time, so much of their energy, and believing in me in all aspects of my craft, whether it's my music, my songwriting, or even the podcast. I'm privileged, and it's truly a blessing to be surrounded by people who stick with you, who trust your vision, and they let you be the captain of the ship. And they just, like, I told one of my guys, I said, hey man, they're not multiple captains on this ship. I don't want you to think that I'm David Ruffin and y'all the Temptations, but I'm the captain of this ship, and I need you to be my first mate. I need you to have my back. I need somebody to navigate. I need somebody to make sure that the ship is on the correct course and that everyone is doing what they need to do to keep this thing going. And since they're giving me sweat equity, they're giving me time, most importantly, time that I can't give them back, I'm going to make sure I work 10 times as hard for them and make this whole thing worth it, because I believe in me, and having them believe in me makes me believe that this thing is big. Because in order for them to believe, you know, they had to believe that I really believed it in order for them to really jump on, especially when people giving you their time and people coming in. So like I said, I'm blessed with everyone who's, you know, definitely down, who won't let me down, who just stick by it and just, you know, give me everything. I'm blessed, man. So when I look at things from that angle, it's been a stressful week, but man, I feel like the Lord prepared me for it. So, you know, I'm here. I go to therapy for my mental health. So that keeps me, you know, keeps my eye on the prize. It lets me ask the questions that I can't ask my friends. It helps me, you know, scientifically, what am I reaching for? What am I thinking for? What trauma is building up that's leading me to think like this or act like this? Why? You know, I get to ask the clinical questions that you can't get when, you know, you got a friend like, all right, bro, sometimes I gotta do what you gotta do, bro. You know what I'm saying? You know, friend, people that listen to give you that, but knowing that, hey man, you ain't crazy, you ain't tripping, you ain't doing too much, you doing what you're supposed to do, stay focused. Like good advice when people start saying the same thing everywhere I go about the same things, write this down, motivate yourself, read this every morning. And you start to do those things, you start to see the changes. So I got a lot on my plate, but man, it's working out good. So I ain't tripping.
I respect that. And in that, man, you manifesting your stuff, bro. Like, even in the negativity and all what I heard was, even in the negativity or the different things that transpired, you still like, I'm gonna get something positive out of this. And I ain't gonna give up on Sean. Like, I'm not gonna give up on this because this is a dream that I have. And it's good that you have people around yourself. And also it's cool as a black man that you step out and saying, I need therapy too. Like, I'm gonna go do this. Ain't nothing wrong with it. And I mean, I have done it myself. So like, it's cool to do because it also helps you gauge your emotions and to know that it's not okay to not be okay. But like, you can kind of get yourself back to where you need to be as the time needs. And I feel like that's a conversation that we all need to have because a lot of times we go through our life just doing. And that's why you're like, dang, why I ain't never see them doing this. I ain't never do this. Or I'm depressed and you don't know why. But I definitely commend you for that. Definitely.
I wrote a song called "It's Okay to Not Be Okay."
Mm-hmm.
There's a Netflix show called "It's Okay to Not Be Okay."
All right.
And I watched it through the pod because it's a Korean drama,
Mm-hmm.
and it was really heartwarming show.
Mm-hmm.
But the overall theme was mental health. But during that time, my father passed in 2018. When that happened, I had the unfortunate privilege.
Mm-hmm.
I know that's crazy, oxymoron, right? I had the unfortunate privilege of having the exact same circumstance happen to one of my closest friends the year prior. Lost his dad a year and a month before I lost mine.
Oh man.
And I was able to lean on him. And I will never, ever not thank him for being supportive for me. But even through that, I started to look at the word differently because I felt all that prodigal son pressure. Like, I'm the only son. I have no brothers. It's on me. My dad had big shoes. Like, I got my hair cut last week and the guy was cutting my hair. I pull up to his house because, I couldn't get to the barbershop in time. His grandma was there and she was like, she knew my granddad. And it was so refreshing because this lady's like 70 and she's telling me about my granddad. And it's like, yo, like, what did you, and she was like, you look like him. Oh, if you anything like him, I know you trouble. All this like refreshing stuff. And it's like, you got to look for the small pieces that the world gives you. So therapy really helps, man. Originally I wanted to be a psychologist,
Mm-hmm.
but I had a counselor who was like, you don't have the grades for it. You might want to, you think you want to try a trade?
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of struck me down because I was like, I came to them saying I want to be a doctor. And they was just like, nah, that's not going to happen. You need to go learn how to do heating and cooling.
Oh man.
I'm like, not that that's a bad profession, but it's like, that's what my eye was set on. So from there, that's how I got into hip hop though. So it's kind of like, well, I can do this good. The podcasting came from me wanting to learn how to be a better communicator. That was my thing. Like, going to therapy, I wanted a chance to practice what I was learning in therapy, which was how to communicate, which was how to navigate my emotions, how to pull things out of others and have real conversations and get them to open up. Even some mental gymnastics that my therapist would do to me, I would do that to my co-hosts and friends and guests that I have on the show. Let me see if this works, just to pull something out. And it starts working. And as the more I started opening up, I felt less embarrassed about opening up about therapy, because it was such a taboo thing not even 5 years ago. But like I said, I had friends who went through their own troubles who opened up about it. And that made me feel comfortable about not only going to therapy, but expressing to people that I do it and encouraging them to do the same thing.
Man, I respect that, Sean, bro. The funny thing is, I don't talk to therapists and different people like that and interview people that's in the industry. And when they tell you something and you take it, you like, all right, cool. But it's not until some certain things happen to you that you like, all right, man, let me see how I can you take it with a grain of salt until certain things start to happen. And then you reach back out and like, man, Jerry, man, you remember that conversation we had? Like, dang, you made it feel okay that I can talk out and communicate. And to be honest, that's why I did start a podcast too. It's a reason behind it. I learned that like communication is one of the biggest keys to life. You got to communicate with your girl. You got to communicate with your friends. You got to communicate with jobs, different things of that nature. And the biggest thing that hide people is we so introverted of saying we're going to stand off like that ain't got nothing to do with us. When I said, once I start a podcast, you'll learn so much about so many people in different professions. I've been able to do that, bro. Like you'll be talking to somebody and I might say a question some way. Like I got a question, like I'm gonna ask you, like, what is your it factor? Why you do what you do? I swear every time I hear that, bro, I get a different answer because everybody has a different road to their success or what it looks like. So like in that, I would say, what is your it factor, man? Why you do what you do?
Man, I do what I do because I can. As
Uh-huh.
cliche as that sound, my it factor is the fact that I wasn't gifted with just one blessing,
Mm-hmm.
one talent. Like I was blessed with many. The curse within that is figuring out what talent needs to be used and what it needs to be used for at a certain time.
Mm-hmm.
Learning, like, it's kind of like I feel like God, universe, energy dropped off something and said, take this, get back to me. And it's like, and the more and more I dive deep into my talents and my passions, the more my relationship with the higher power tends to grow because I start needing things. I start wanting things. I read a book called Ask and It Is Given, and it kind of teaches you how to manifest. I read that book and it was like, let me tap into the source because I want this thing to work. And it's just like you get to a point where you feel like without certain components, it won't work.
Mm-hmm.
And then challenging myself because I was been a shy, somewhat of an extroverted introvert.
Mm-hmm.
So my it factor is the things that I see as weaknesses. Every time I've turned so many of them into a strength
Mm-hmm.
that I feel once I get to my path, once I get to this certain stopping point on this journey, on a checkpoint, I should say, I really feel that I'm put here to change the landscape of whatever it is I'm contributing to, whether it's music, podcasting. I feel I have within me to not only change the world, but I have so many ideas that once I'm on, it's over with. My it factor is I will never run out of imagination and ideas.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just passionate about the things I'm passionate about, but I'll never run out of imagination, never run out of ideas. All I need is the opportunity and the resources to see them through.
Gotcha.
So yeah, man, that's my it factor is my talents connect to the higher source, man. And it's like I'm able to connect the dots, man. I'm like a walking spider web, man.
I respect it. I respect that, man. So in that, I would say, since you said that you're on, what does that mean for you? So is you being on having people from where we're from to all the way around the world knowing who you are? Or if you were like a artist like a Jadakiss, that we know Jadakiss, but like he's not internationally known, if you would say.
And I think with Jadakiss, that's just a product of time because there was
Right.
one point when he was.
Yeah.
I've always been fame has always had this allure, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like the most addictive drug. I've never had it, but imagine someone being shy but wanting to be famous, but kind of scared of people digging up your bones, your closet. I mean, your skeletons in your closet, and kind of exposing yourself. But in this day and age, I feel like fame is one of the greatest currencies that anybody can have. Literally, like I'm a big anime fan. That's what we talk about in the Ninja Please podcast. I love comics, anime, Marvel movies, all of that, right? Big passion of mine is anime. It's artists like Megan Thee Stallion and Lil Uzi Vert who mention it once or twice. They're fans, but because they're famous, they can walk into a studio, they can walk into a production company, hop on the track, do a song for them, do merch. Like Michael B. Jordan had a whole like luxury Naruto line. It's like guys will get in these positions with their fame and they can use it with their passions. And it's like you already got this profession over here, but you got this stuff over here that you casually do because you're a fan, and they just open the door wide open. And then someone's like, "Oh my God, you're famous. What do you think about this? Oh, we love your idea. Just because you're famous, it ain't even got to be a good idea. Not saying those guys have bad ideas, just simply saying that the privilege that comes with them being famous is a good currency. People want to get to know you. They want to get to how you think, and your ideas sound better because you're famous, because you look good whenever the camera's on you. People know who you are. I I think it's always been alluring, right? But to me, when own means like when you're owned, that means you're in the position to put other people in position.
Right.
Like you're able to feed families, like you're able to not just eat, you're able to provide opportunity. That's what I mean by when you own. When you own, people respect you, the pedigree into which you operate, the scope into which your talent, exudes, and it's your network.
Right.
Like your network becomes concrete of, oh, you have access to this person here, that person there. You have these financial resources, and you can send an email. Being on is being able to just retweet or reshare someone's post and change their life. That's what it's like. That's what it means to be on. When you can just, you don't even know this person. You just reshare something you thought was dope and the right person saw it. You can co-sign something and boom, that person, great grandkid straight, just off a retweet. Like that's being on.
I respect that. And I know that in a way. I had to just make sure I asked and make sure yours is the same. Because I feel like in the world we are in now, especially with everyone, they mama coming out with a podcast or want to be in music, what makes you authentic in your own way? And we spoke on it before we started, like you just saying that you touch different genres, as you would say, or you step outside of what a rapper would be. So what is your ideal way of saying, hey, this is who I am as in the music world?
That's really tough, man, because for the longest I really tried to hide it. I really tried to separate it, right? I didn't want Sean and REEQO Star being the same thing, right? It's like I didn't feel it was cool for me to really rap about or be this geek. I feel like I had to make booty club music. I feel like I had to spit hard. I feel like I had to cuss. I feel like I had to talk about bitches and hoes and, beat, 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 beat. I feel like I had to do that. Not saying that that wasn't authentic to who I am or how I wanted to behave, because I'm just a product of my environment.
Right.
I grew up in East Side, Fort Valley. It's like I'm a product of my whole environment. Griffin Line, shout out to all the homies, because I've seen like the trap. I've seen dope. I've seen all this negative stuff. Then grandma dragged me to church. So I'm rooted in faith. But then on this side of town, I'm in fights. I'm getting respect because I'm fighting people, and I don't know. I get this credibility about being able to hang in so many different spaces. What makes me authentic is I can naturally go into different spaces, and I don't have to put a mask on to a degree of brown nose and being fake. It's like I can be my most authentic self.
Right.
I don't look at his mask. I look at his hats. Sometimes you wear a bucket hat, sometimes you wear a top hat, sometimes a fedora, sometimes a dad hat, sometimes a snapback, depending on your outfit. Your outfit is determined by the environment which you're going. You're not going to wear a coat when it's 90 outside. You're not going to wear shorts when it's 30 degrees outside. But the hat is just an accessory that sets it all off. You don't have to do it, but it helps accentuate things. So instead of me wearing masks, I wear different hats depending on the circles I'm in. And the fact that I just grew up touching so many different environments, it's authentically me. I can hang with gangbangers, I can hang with nerds, I can go to a convention, I can hang with I just want to learn people. Like, so authentically wanting to listen and learn people, you get to learn more about yourself. And that's one of the biggest things I learned.
I got that, man. I like that. I like that. So in that, I would say, what would you say is one of your ultimate life goals?
Life goals?
Yeah.
Man, one of my ultimate life goals is I want to create a musical. I want to do a musical, original music. I also want to do a musical where I just select songs and people dance over popular songs, and I just kind of make a play and make a story. But let me not go too in depth because I ain't trying to have nobody take my idea.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I want to do a musical. I want to do some Disney like music, like Lion King, Aladdin. Like I want to work with Disney. Big Marvel fan, man. I would love to be in a Marvel show one day, man. The ultimate goal, though, man, I want me and my group, Ninja Please Podcast. I really want me and my host. I want us to be the go-to guys. I want us to be the first take of pop, like black pop culture, nerd pop culture, anime, music, comics. I want us to be the go-to guys. Like I want us to be like a bunch of Oprahs, like Gail Oprahs. I want us to be like the aficionados when it comes to that space.
Yeah.
Um, I
I
want to
got
work.
somebody for you too. I got
Yeah,
somebody after this podcast I gotta give you. Somebody I interviewed. Well, two people, man. One guy's a multimillionaire. He works in the space that you just speak of. And also another guy does a podcast and he brings in people from Marvel, some of everything, anime, different movies. Like he done brought on some big name people. So I definitely love y'all to collab, man. So I'm definitely gonna give him your information.
looking forward to it, man. Ultimately, on the music side, man, Jay-Z getting old. I still want a Jay-Z verse on the song, man. I want to work Pharrell.
Mhm.
I want to work with Kanye. Say what you want about him, but I love him.
That's amazing. It's gonna be
Um,
that would be amazing.
yeah, I just want to. I want the way I look at Kanye. I want some kid to look at me and say, "That's him." Not maybe not in the over media saturation sense, but man, confidently made himself a billionaire. Wow. It's just like, it's kind of like wow, this dude really manifested everything he said. He had a song on like, oh yeah, he had a song on Dark Fantasy. One day I'm gonna marry a porn star. And I guess he did. Like he said, like he keeps predicting his future, and I'm like, dog, you the Simpsons. Kanye keeps predicting his future, man. Shout out to Kanye. But I want to be able to inspire younger kids, and I want to meet my idols, and I want to be revered as a peer. I don't want to be a fan. I want to be a peer to these guys. I want them to respect me in this space. I really want to be taken seriously and build a career in this space, because right now it's seeming like a lot of this stuff is an expensive hobby I'm trying to turn into a career because I'm passionate, I'm professional, and I'm organized. But outside of that, I need a little bit more clout and exposure, maybe a little bag, and I'm good, man. From there, it's never gonna stop, man. I got plenty of ideas, and whenever I make that anime that I make, man, it's gonna be the greatest thing that people ever seen. Black people don't occupy that space, man. I'm telling you, I'm gonna go to Japan. I'm gonna turn it out, man. Before Disney start making anime, I gotta get my foot in the door. At least let them put me on the board when they do it or something.
Yes, sir, man. So before we close, and I love how you dived in there, bro. I can just tell how you do podcasting, man. Do you have any questions for me?
Yeah, man. I've watched like a lot of your interviews, and like you said, you got into this because you want to be a communicator yourself. Man, how do you keep it going? Like you by yourself. What keeps you motivated to keep this thing going? Because it's so easy to just not open up a laptop. Like, what happens when that person didn't reply to that email in time, or they said, I ain't never heard of this podcast, I'm not doing it. Like, you started landing like some great prominent guests. Like the big fish I feel like you had was when Ryan Clark came on. I was like, oh, he done made it. I was like, sure, done made it. He got Ryan Clark on here. I was just like, okay. Then I started seeing the guests, and I'm like, yo, your network. I can tell you did some networking, and you really start building, man. So what keeps you motivated to keep this thing going?
So I would say I've been doing it 3 years now, and in me doing that, I would say my faith in God, staying steadfast and knowing that I want to reach out to people and treating everybody like they the same person, like that famous person, man. Like I'm working on my book now, The Art of Networking, and in doing that, I find myself so many times like we got the common person and we got the big name person, and like we know different. It's just like you were saying. It's like, yeah, we know you famous. We know you can do this. We know you can do that. But like at the end of the day, what keeps me going, man, is anytime somebody turn it down, bro, I swear since I've been doing this, it's been 2 or 3 different people that be like, I want to come on your podcast because of this. And it's so different. The genre is to the where now, at first I started to just want to do tech people and engineers do this. And now I do everybody, man, every profession, because at the end of the day, that's how you grow your network and that's how you promote change. And I feel like in doing this, I've been so positive with it to where I get in what I put out. So that's how I stay motivated with it. And it's like my church, man. It's like my little baby, bro. Like I pit into it, I feed it. And another thing is just my group, even though I'm doing it by myself, I got an editor. My fiance helped me out, man. Like my friends, we have business meetings. Like we sit down and we just go in like hey, I even stay in touch. Like you brought up Ryan Clark. I even stay in touch with this man. Like talked to him the other day. Like I stay in touch with people, everybody that's been on my show, just to make sure. Like, hey, like even next week, like, hey, Sean, bro, here go the people, bro. Here's so because I want to pitch you on to the point, that this is a brand. This is not just something to get me big. It's a brand and a network. So I believe in that, and that's how I'm able to keep it going, man.
That's
Definitely.
cool. Networking been the word of the week, man. That mixer, we were talking about a lot of cool stuff, but networking, they were just like, man, a lot of these spaces, man, it's the network, it's who you know. It's a who you know type of business.
Right.
Shout out to you, man. I like your shirt, man. The Marvel shirt, man. Got Spider Woman, got Thor. Like, yeah, that's dope, man. But yeah, man. I'm proud of you. I'm glad. I'm happy to come on as a guest, man. Ninja Please podcast, man. Wherever you find your podcast. REEQO Star, REEQO STAR, or Sean Million on Instagram. Because out of a million Sean's, there's only one of me. So, that's where that came from. But yeah, I'm excited, man. We're excited, man. We're gonna venture into YouTube, get some visual content going. We've been an audio only podcast because we started in 2019. Now we're about to dive into video. Just got some new gear. I'm really excited. Got a video editor. I'm a audio editor, sound designer, like multifaceted, man. Like we're gonna do some dope things, man. I'm talking about like afternoon theater,